Shalom, shalom, shalom. This is Naaman with the Great Millstone Camp here in Washington, D.C. Back for another video. But first and foremost, call hello Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushua, Bahashem, Rakahakwadash. Once again, double honors go out to the apostles, bishops, and elders of Great Millstone who rule well. I'd like to send salutations to the fellow Akim that are out there on the highways and byways, week in and week out. Also mentioning and the numerous videos, all right, that go out and are sent over the airwaves, various social media outlets that are there for the edification, first and foremost, all right, for our people, the hopeful elect of Israel, but they're there also for everyone else. And trust you me, the word has gotten out. All right, you can just look up anything about Great Millstone, GMS on chat, and various other sites such as that, and it'll give you the rundown. All right. So the word has gone out. All right. There is really no excuse for not knowing what's going on. All right. So here we have the copyright disclaimer. It says under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statutes that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use. Once again, fair use, fair use, fair use. I'm using videos of people, all right, their sites, and I'm not profiting off of this whatsoever. I'm using it just as I read, as was stated in the copyright disclaimer there, all right, merely as a teaching tool. That's it. So this is from Sabby Sabs. This came out earlier today, and the New York mayor, of course, is under attack. And you have to understand that personally, I don't trust any of them. All right, this could and very well might be just for show, but yeah, he by all appearances seems to be in opposition. Not buying it. So what we have here is well, coming up on this 25th anniversary of 9/11, and apparently some of these racists in New York, well, by and large, what you're going to see here is they're trying to sell a certain narrative. Here we go again. So instead of wasting any more time, let's just get into the video. Here we go.
And we're moving on to what just happened with Zoran here. Apparently, there is a petition that is going around in New York City where people who are victims, had family members that were victims of September 11, they are calling for the mayor of New York City, Zoran Mamdani, to not be allowed to attend. Apparently, they consider him to be a terrorist. This is how far we're getting now, ladies and gents. Check it out for yourself. But we're going to talk about one of the big wins that he just had. So check this out.
For the hot topic of the hour. Families of 9/11 victims are calling for New York City Mayor Zoran Mamdani to be banned from the 25th anniversary ceremony in September.
Why?
Brooklyn native Giovanni Gallant, who lost his wife Grace in the attacks,
And you got to know this is basically just boils down to they all look alike. I hope you're catching that part. This man isn't he? Wow.
Organized a petition on change.org, which has over 10,000 signatures. It supports keeping Mamdani away from the event. It lists a series of concerns about the 34-year-old politician. Gallant telling the New York Post Mamdani's presence would be hurtful and inappropriate, saying, quote, your objection is based on his public record, his failure to meaningfully acknowledge the horror of that day, and his employment of support
like
for or association with individuals who
commenter
have
said, huh?
minimized 9/11, defended terrorists, or even suggested America deserved the attacks.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is where we're at now. Ashura says, call Saudi Arabia. Oh, we're not supposed to say that, are we? Let me get this straight. So Zohran is Indian, correct? Who spent part of his life growing up in Uganda and the rest in New York City. Because he says Palestinians have the right for self-determination, because he calls out Israel as a Zionist entity, as it is, because he called for the rest of Benjamin Netanyahu, and then they said he had some association with one of the guys who was in a picture during September 11 or something like that. They have started this petition and said that they do not want him to be present on that day of remembrance. This is where we're at now. But these same people are totally fine with a war criminal and a genocider marching through their city named Benjamin Netanyahu. Last time I checked, Zohran didn't kill anybody. You see where we're at now? Of course, you know Fox News ate this up.
The mayor's office responding, quote, to Fox, saying this, Mayor Mamdani will proudly honor the families, survivors, and first responders forever impacted by these devastating attacks by standing alongside them at this year's 9/11 commemoration, reaffirming we'll never forget the solemn day felt by all of us who called the city home. Paula, your reaction to this, because, look, he has made it very, very clear in his actions and his words since he took office in January, where he lies, and it's a Palestinian state. He is not on the side of Jewish Americans, and he certainly does not seem to have
going on here?
Much sorrow about 9/11. And
you are not on the side of Palestinian Americans. And once again, they're conflating Judaism with Zionism, right? To the point, the majority of Jewish New Yorkers voted for Zohran.
See?
What is she talking about?
So why? Oh, it gets worse.
I don't see a petition going around for people to call out the dancing Israelis from September 11. I don't see a petition going around for that. I don't see a petition going around for Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia peeps. I don't see a petition going around for them. But you're going after the mayor of New York City, basically because he's pro-Palestinian. That's really what this is about.
Bingo.
Didn't they say the hijackers were from Saudi Arabia? Did they ever say the hijackers were from Gaza? What about the West Bank? You see how they're spreading this?
And those dummies, all right, that trust in Fox News and all these other talking heads, all right, that keep falling for this shit. Your average Joe Six-Pack American, yeah, they eat shit like this up. They're telling them what they want to hear. They're pushing this narrative. Let's bring up that old hate all Arabs. All right, because I'm not going to jump the gun, but she's going to give you the reason why. Mainly they're losing. They have lost. They're not losing. They have lost All right. Because people, as far as their image, they're through. People have caught on and they're sick of the lies. And I'm talking about the JOOs, especially, from Netanyahu and all that. Because you're right. He is a war criminal. All right. And they're trying to get back with which they can't. And that's, this has been going on for a while. And certain people, through the years have just, uh, chosen to look the other way, but it's gotten to a point now, no. Especially once these people over here in America, they see now that, hey, all this money has been going, over there and we're suffering over here. You've propped up another country ahead of us, the American people, and it's come to a head now. And they know this, so they've got to again try to distract the people. All right. And let's face it, it's usually not too hard for those people I aforementioned. All right. And a lot of them, because of what's going on with the economy such as it is, we said this last night at camp, they don't know how to handle it. Because up until this point, pretty much everything has been handed to them, i.e., white privilege, at our expense, of course. And now they're walking around here wondering why. Why is Jake still happy? Are they not touched by what's going on? Of course we are. But we've been going through it so long that we know how to cope.
And so they're trying to invoke this again. And of course, the New York Post, they really dug into this because Rupert Murdoch, he's a Zionist and he's crazy as hell. But you see what they're trying to do? They're trying to gear up that Islamophobia that we had in this country that was rampant after September 11th. They're trying to get that out in the focus again.
Mm-hmm. Distractions.
In the statements that he has made.
Definitely not. And his biggest takeaway from 9/11 was that his family members felt unsafe being Muslim in New York
Look
City.
who they get
he
to
made statements
speak.
about that when he was asked about 9/11. That was his takeaway. Not the victims, not the lives lost, not the
So they said.
firefighters and other service members that lost their lives protecting other American citizens. That is not his concern. It's Islamophobia is simply what he brings up. And it's very concerning as someone who grew up here in the New York City area. 9/11 was something I was reminded about every single year. My father worked here in New York City while it happened.
Oh.
I heard stories about it every single year. We're 25 years.
Pause.
What?
Why were you reminded about it every single year? Oh God, he's worried about Islamophobia. He is Muslim. But the thing is, they want him to worry about anti-Semitism. They don't want him to look out for the Muslim community, which he is a part of. So why was she reminded of it every year? Why was that? Because they wanted you to continue to fear the Muslim people. That's why. That's why you were reminded about it every year. Here it comes. I mean, when all else fails, they dig back into September 11, guys. They're really trying here.
Away from it. I was a young child when this happened. But now I feel like we don't really remember. And seeing a New York City mayor in the city it happened in acting this way to me is disgusting.
These people are so brainwashed. Exactly. And what I said earlier, keep falling for it. That certain, especially that certain demographic, Bubba and, them folks. But look at here. By contrast, you got on the other end of the spectrum. All right. Seemingly well-to-do, well-educated, still falling for the okie doke. Boy, these people with their psychology and their studies and all this, their think tanks, they really know uh, how to manipulate people. Let me get some scriptures here. All right, because uh, let's go to Psalms. Let's see, 37. Let's see. Where is it? Let's see. 12. The wicked plotteth against the just. All right. And gnasheth upon him with his teeth. All right. These people are not going to stop. And I'm talking about the JOOs, the elite banking families, and all, until they have it all. And when I mean all, I mean they want your very soul. All this new technology, and for those of you to say, well, they could have done this anytime. No, the technology is not what it was. All right, this is the right time now with technology such as it is. I mean, this gene therapy and nanotechnology and messing with the Wi-Fi and having it mess with us, your bodies. No, it's gotten to the point now. Yeah, they really think that they are gods, small gods, although they may think that they're on par. But again, we know through the scriptures that they're being set up. This is prophecy actually playing out in real time. These people are going down, and there's nothing they can do. I don't care how smart they think they are. All right, they're not getting. And in fact, let's go to Micah. All right, because he's so smart, and I'm talking about the self-professed white man. Let's go to 2. All right, who is the oppressor? And that's what it says here: woe or destruction to the oppressors. All right, verse 3, here's the point. Verse 1, woe to them that devise iniquity, which they are doing, have done, and are still doing, because they have an end goal. Remember, we always say all roads lead to the MOTB, the mark of the beast, the CHIP. That implantable device, when Obama was in office, all right, that came out. It was written up as such, and it was in what was that? It escapes me right now. Was it the NA? Wait a minute. What was that document? But it came up. I think it was 20. Oh man, when was it? See, they're behind time. That brings up another point. They're behind in what they really want to do. All right, so they're like playing catch up. Let's see. Order under Obama, specifying implantable I'll say medical device. Require Americans to be implanted with microchip. This is 2023. It says a myth. Okay, fact check. Well, Chimper may get the facts. 2017, 2008. All right. What? Yeah, I do have a VPN on. All right. VPN. Obamacare chip hoax. Here it is. Implantable computer chips to help U.S. troops heal. Did they fall for that? Oh man, it's the Post. They want me to pay. God dang it. That's not what I'm talking about, though. Let's see. FDA regulation on medical devices library. God dang it. Oh man, I wish I could think of, let's see, to go straight to it, because what they're doing here, oh no, they're crazy. Dang it. Let's see what this is all about. FDA. Slovakia, but let's see. Nah, this is something else. This is just medical devices in general. Dadgummit. Let's see. Facts about. Let's just check this out. Let's see. Myths. Following are some common myths. Let's see. Maybe it'll give me the name of what I'm actually. Obamacare myths. All right. Affordable Care Act or different. Misconception. All right. They're using that word now. Let's see. Patient protection and affordable blah, 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 blah. It common is that the majority of Americans want to see the law repealed. What polls really show is that many Americans don't understand what the Affordable Care Act is. See, this brings up, it's a whole nother video, but what's happening now is also a resort, as far as every other so-called civilized country has universal health care, but they're so racist here, primarily because they don't want us to get it. Dang it, let's see. Let's see. And CHIP, what the hell is this thing? Now I'm going all around it. That's something I'm going to come back to, but yeah, this is going all around what I actually wanted. So we'll go back to the video here.
Disgusting as an American.
Yeah, no, I mean, Ryan, I was here.
Acting what way? Acting what way? What way has he behaved? Did Zoran participate in September 11? No. And of course they get this woman. I told you guys, a lot of these people, they wanted to go into acting. They didn't make it there, so they end up with this kind of gig. Then they get this
That's
woman
what
and
we've always said.
get the woman of color to make this comment. You see how this works?
There you go.
I'm disgusted. I am just. If you're disgusted, honey, I wonder how the people in Gaza feel about you.
Ha ha ha. Didn't think about that, huh?
I wonder how people in the West Bank feel about you. You're disgusted.
Well, I wasn't living here, but I was here a month after the attacks, and it's just also, if you lived through that time and you experienced it, you remember how horrific it was. And the Wall Street Journal's editorial board says globalizing the Intifada in Mamdani's New York, and they talk about the current situation. But this ties back to why the 9/11 families don't want him there, because they don't.
What does this have to do with September 11? Anybody? Someone please explain it to me. Anybody? Because last time I checked, it wasn't Palestinians who committed this act. Okay? Look at the headline. He accused Jews of genocide. A Jewish man is stabbed. Do you see this? You see how this goes? No other group of people in this country get this type of energy. No other group. This is insane.
Feel supported by someone who seems, that if it was 25 years ago, he'd be probably supporting the attackers on the World Trade Centers. I mean, that's my opinion.
Oh my God.
I think it's clear his values are
You see what they're doing? They said he would have supported the attackers. Do you see this? Let's see if we can get Americans to be more pro-Israel by saying 9/11 again. Let's throw that back. Let's kick that can back up again. It would have never been the other way around. You know? Like it's insane. It is absolutely insane. But if it would have been him,
Yeah, before this clown comes on to speak, let me finish what I had in Micah. Woe to the oppressors, destruction to the oppressors. It says, woe to them that devise iniquity, which we know who that is, and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it because it is in the power of their hand. Don't you know a few families have the ability, all right, to end poverty? But these sick bastards get off watching people suffer. All right, and hogging everything for themselves. 2, and they covet fields and take them by violence. Think about that. There's always this, they're always so quick to criticize socialism. But what has capitalism done, especially our people being probably the main victims of it? When you think about the transatlantic slave trade and all that, what was that driven by? Yeah. And you think they want to give this up? No. It's going to have to be taken out of their hands. All right. All the people that the CIA, let me rephrase that. All the nations, beginning with Iran, here we are back, 360-degree circle. In 53, what happened? Mossadegh. What was he? All he wanted to do was naturalize his country's resource for his people. CIA said, "Nah, I can't do that. We can't have that." In every other country since. One of the latest ones. Well, it's been 15 years now. Damn, time flies fast. Gaddafi. What did he want to do? Which shows you again the amount of manipulation going on. His own people revolted and they had it good. Think about that. This is why these people, in order for them to convince people to revolt against someone who indeed had their best interests at heart, I do believe, but because they wanted to be, I don't know, freaks or whatever have you, they fell for the shit. They bought into it, and now look at them. All that gold that they had gone. I think Gaddafi's son resurfaced. When was it? It hadn't been too long ago. Supposedly they killed him. Now this thing in Africa again has resurfaced about all the gold that they have found. So guess what's going to happen with them? Uganda, I think it was, yeah. This is not the first time I've heard this. Everywhere, these nations, African nations that are breaking away now. What's his name? Dadgummit. Burkina Faso, Mali. Everybody that wants to take care of their people, guess what happens? Continuing on, verse 2, and they covet fields and take them by violence, and houses and take them away. So they oppress a man in his house, even a man and his heritage. 3, my point, Therefore, thus saith the Most High, whose name is Yahweh, behold, against this family do I devise an evil from which ye shall not remove your necks. All this doing crazy shit to people and getting away with it and laughing and celebrating your victory. That time is over. It's quickly coming to an end, I should say. But this is the year, everything being laid out in the open, being exposed. This is what's happening. 2 Thessalonians 2nd chapter. The man of sin is being revealed. This is the time that we're in now, all right? 4, in that day shall one take up a parable against you and lament with a doleful lamentation and say, we be utterly spoiled. He hath changed the portion of my people. How hath he removed it from me? Turning away, he hath divided our fields, our fields. This is the MO of Edom. Habakkuk's 2nd chapter is right on point. He can't be satisfied. He is as death. He wants it all.
Criticizing, let's say Zoran was criticizing like Gaza and all that type of stuff, they wouldn't even be saying these things. But because he called out people being bombed and killed and Israel being the one to do it, that's why they're targeting him. And because he said he wanted to arrest Benjamin Netanyahu. And I think Shira asked, I thought Zoran was going to arrest him. He can't. A mayor can't arrest a leader of another country that is coming here to go to the UN. You can't. Legally, a mayor can't. That's the law.
Yes, that's supposed to be neutral territory.
Hypothetical to those who lost loved ones on 9/11, 100%. And it's kind of ironic he's talking about how Muslims felt they feared for their life after 9/11. Well, how about all the Jewish people that now fear their life as he's supporting calling Netanyahu a war criminal, which is not, by the way, a commonly held view amongst Americans in general.
It is. It is a commonly held view. Do you see the mountain of lies that these people are telling you? The majority of Americans don't support Israel anymore. This man just told you on camera that calling Netanyahu a war criminal is not a majority American view. That is a blatant lie. Relax, relate, release. Sometimes I have to say that because the frustration is it's just so bad. It's so bad. I don't hear them saying anything about, let's talk about this for a second, okay? We know that most of the hijackers on that plane, they said, were from Saudi Arabia. We also know that Saudi Arabia killed journalist Khashoggi, an American journalist. They were never held accountable for that. So you need to ask yourself this question. How is it that Saudi Arabia doesn't face any accountability? None. Because they are also on the side of the Zionist regime.
Yep, there you go. That's why Iran has no problem, all right, tearing them a new one every chance they can get. All right, because hey, if you're allowing my enemy to use your country as a staging ground for assaults against me, hey, you're on my list too.
I don't hear them asking about the dancing Israelis on camera.
Yeah, real selective.
So all of these people are puppets. So these families came together and they said they're going to ban him from attending the 25th anniversary of September 11th. Absolutely ridiculous. He did respond to this. We'll go ahead and let you see what he said here. And then I'm going to tell you about the win he just announced.
Then we're going to go back to Marcia and Henry. Keep my promise for an off topic.
Mr. Mayor, there was a number of people from.
Sorry, would you mind bringing the microphone up?
A number of people who are survivors of 9/11 are calling on you not to go to 9/11 memorial services. I wonder how you feel about the fact that they're trying to keep you away.
I will proudly honor the families, the survivors, the first responders forever impacted by that horrific terror attack by standing alongside them at this year's 9/11 commemoration, reaffirming that we will never forget the solemn day felt by all of us who call this city home, and frankly, by all of us who call this country home.
And that's how you clap back on that. It's so sad, you guys. It's so sad. I thought I've seen it all, but they're going to come up with all different types of things. They're going to try to make his life hell as mayor there. But there's some good news, right? There is a rainbow at the end of this cloud. Today, he announced that a collection of essential staples will be predictably 30% cheaper at all 5 of our city-run grocery stores. This is a big one, guys. Listen to this. So they are doing those 5 city-run grocery stores like he said he was going to do. The goods there do tend to be cheaper at city-run grocery stores. Check this out.
We know that for many New Yorkers, 30% at the grocery store means something very different. Since 2019, food prices have soared at grocery stores around the country by roughly 30%, in fact. Talk to shoppers around the city, and you'll often hear the same frustration. Wages have not kept up. Making matters even worse, some corporations have built out technology that allows for something called surveillance pricing, collecting personal data to charge some people more than others for the same carton of eggs, for the same gallon of milk.
Someone had mentioned this to me a while back that this was happening, that people were getting charged different prices for food depending on their data information. Isn't this insane? You guys see what they've been doing?
All of this leaves too many New Yorkers feeling like groceries are out of reach. And that is frankly unacceptable, which is why city government is stepping in to make people's lives more affordable. Today, I am proud to announce a collection of essential staples that will be predictably 30% cheaper at all 5 of our city-run grocery stores. This core set of goods will include all fresh produce, meat, and seafood, along with 20 other essential items like cheese, milk, and bread. Here's how it will work. Once a month, our 5 city-run grocery stores will set prices for this core set of goods at 30% below typical retail prices. No exceptions, no gimmicks. The savings will last for the entire month. That means no weekly fluctuations nor sticker shock at the checkout line.
Look at that. Eric the Red says what? Surveillance pricing. Oh man, the things that capitalism comes up with. Capitalism. Again, all roads lead to the MOTB. Keep that in mind. There's a reason I keep
For our
saying
seniors
that. We
living on fixed
all keep
incomes,
saying that.
nor for the parents who rely on a regular supply of apple slices to keep toddler tantrums at bay. Now, can we all see this incredible example of produce in my hand? Now you will see these plantains here, so for anyone wondering how much these beautiful plantains might cost, you can use this QR code or head to grocery.nyc to access our policy report. I'm going to demonstrate exactly what that means. Ladies and gentlemen, the QR code does work. You can see this here. There you can learn more about our city-owned grocery store program, including the 30% discount. 30% off adds up.
Okay, so guys, let me show you something here. So it looks like it's fresh foods, right? So, well, cheese, milk, bread, but also produce, meat, and seafood. 30% off seafood is a really good deal because seafood tends to be more expensive. So I'm looking at it like this, like that's going to help many people because like you guys, we've been talking about the grocery store prices for quite some time, but if they can get those goods cheaper at the city run grocery stores, they're going to go to the city run grocery stores. One of the things that came up was people was asking, they were like, well, how are those stores going to stay in business? Well, people have to shop there. Well, how are you going to get people to shop there? Well, if I know it's 30% cheaper for me to get, salmon or like chicken breasts at the city run grocery store instead of like Market Basket or Shaw's or something like that, I'm going to go to the city run grocery store. Now, obviously, that wouldn't apply to like hot meals. So if you wanted to get prepared meals that were like hot foods or whatever, that wouldn't apply to that because it's already prepared. That makes sense. But the fresh foods, I think that's a really good idea. And I applaud that. And I think people should support that. So I think, sometimes there's a rainbow at the end of the cloud. Someone was just asking in the chat if he had security. Dutch said, does this guy have security? I don't know. I would hope so because
New York City? Oh,
my
yeah.
whole thing is that he's not bending the knee enough for them, right? Like he decided to keep Tish, which I'm against.
Or he
decided
appears
to
not
support
to.
Hakeem
I'm
Jeffries,
not
which I'm
convinced.
against. But he's not bending the knee to the Zionist establishment, and they have issue with that. And so I would hope he has some type of security. Janine said Walmart is doing that by not having prices on items, only barcodes. This is interesting. Someone had contacted me a while back.
Whatever I've been saying, all roads lead to, guess what? The MOTB, Mark of the Beast.
And they told me that the prices were changing depending on people's data, which is that's wild, man. It's wild. But I think this is a good thing here. Again, NYC mayors have a full-time NYPD detail. Okay, thanks, Corey. I think this is a good thing. Again, especially when it comes to something like seafood. A lot of times, like if you're on, a strict budget or if you're lower income, you may not be able to afford to buy seafood, right? Things like salmon, things like scallops, shrimp is more expensive. And another thing I want to tell you guys too is that oftentimes it's not uncommon. I saw this when I lived in New York. It's not uncommon for people to shop at these stores, these convenience stores, where they're just buying a lot of processed foods because it's cheaper. So this idea that people can get those fresh foods there for 30% cheaper, that means people are going to eat healthier. And I always see that as a plus. Okay. People don't talk about this enough, but a lot of times people that live in low income neighborhoods don't get as many options when it comes to fresh foods. That's like fruits and vegetables, etc. People usually end up getting what's cheaper, like the processed foods. So yeah, Miss Kiwi, seafood like salmon and tuna is high in protein too. Yes, it is. I know about the protein. Yeah, that's true. So they're trying to come after him, guys. And I think he gave a good response to that he's going to celebrate with those families by being there. Yeah, don't let people box you out like that. Hey guys, this was a savvy video.
So there we go. Let's see if I had any other. Let's see. Oh yeah. Let's get a couple of more here, because this is who you're dealing with. Let's go to Psalms. Actually, I should have got this one. It should have been my second one. 36:4. All right. And it says here, let's see, what does 3 say? Yeah, we'll start there. The words of his mouth are iniquity and deceit. He hath left off to be wise and to do good. He deviseth mischief upon his bed. He setteth himself in a way that is not good. He abhorreth not evil. All right, and this is, all right, even the prayer, of King David in Psalm 17th chapter. But, Edom being his sword. That's what he is. He's a tool at the end of the day. All right. Um, Nothing's good. In fact, let me go to that 17. All right. In the shadow of your wings. Let's go on down here. All right. Let's see. 13. All right. It says, arise, O Most High, again, whose name is Yahweh, disappoint him, cast him down, deliver my soul from the wicked, which is thy sword. 14. From men which are thy hand, O Most High, from men of the world which have their portion in this life, and those and whose belly thou fillest with thy hid treasure. They are full of children and leave the rest of their substance to their babes. And that's exactly what they do. They keep it all in house. So literally, all right. This is what they do. That's this system that they have created. All right. These elite banking families. These are your rulers, not your politicians. Let's get that straight. All right. Let's see. Let's go to Proverbs 16. And scroll all the way down. All right. 16 and 27. An ungodly man diggeth up evil, and in his lips there is a burning fire. 28. A froward man. Let's get that definition. A froward. Let's see. All right. A froward man. Strong's H8419. Perversity or fraud. All right. A perverse thing. That's who we're dealing with. A froward man soweth strife, and a whisperer separateth chief friends. They have agencies set up to where they go all around the globe. And if you don't do what they want, think what COINTELPRO over here was with the FBI and others. Let's just call it what it is. Sowing dissent amongst Jake that was trying to do right by their own people. Even though, on a surface level, that is. All right. There are all these alphabet agencies. That's what they do. All right. So there you have it. I'm gonna stop it there. Points been made. This is what we're all up against. This is what we're trying to tell our people. Hey, for those of you that think this is it, that America is it, you can't see past America. This is the wickedness that's being perpetuated against your own people and the rest of the world. Remember what I said about those countries that, hey, we're trying to take care of our own. What happens? How many times have Great Millstone brought up from the elder apostles on down? The book, what was it? Confessions of Economic Hitman or something to that nature. What they did throughout in sabotaging these various nations, getting them to become slaves to the monetary fund throughout the world, the World Economic, all that shit, the central banks, all this become slaves. One of the big motivating factors with Iran and all these other countries, they had a list years ago. General Wesley Clark brought it out about these countries they wanted to topple. They had a list. These that don't play ball, so to speak, that's who they're coming after. So with that, once again, I hope whoever views these videos have been edified. That's what we aim to do here at Great Millstone. Filter everything through the scriptures so that you'll know what's going on and how they relate to the scriptures. These prophecies, all right? They're speaking very loudly. Screaming, as a matter of fact. All right. Once again, it's been Sabi Sab's site, excuse me, Mandamne under attack. All right. So once again, I'd like to encourage you to remain circumspect out here. Keep your eyes and ears open, because the days that are coming upon us, these are dangerous times. All right. You're seeing people freak out, spiral out of control. Just be careful. All the more reason to be aware of your surroundings. All right. So with that, until the next video, hey, shalom.